Fans don't care who's on the roster. The stadium will still be full on Sundays. They should worry about sponsors. Calling out the spelling on this. That's not how you spell sponsors, Robert Farello.
I like the grammar police. I'm glad you did that because I get grammar policed all the time on Twitter. They always, no, Sean, that's not how you say that. You should have said it this way, or your tweet was wrong, it was inaccurate. So I'm glad you did that. I appreciate that.
At Mike and Mike, everybody's going to be out there higher than a kite. Integrity of the game will be damaged, but that left a long time ago.
Talking about the potential of marijuana use for pain medication. I disagree. I don't think there's going to be a bunch of players running around on the football field that are smoking right before they take the field. It's just inaccurate. I mean, professional sports and athletes in general care about their body. They care about their ability to perform. You know why they care about their performance? Yeah, because that's how they get paid. So if you're going out there and you make the decision that you're going to take a football field or any professional sport and you're going to be high, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you might not be at your personal best as far as an athlete.
Most likely. At Mike and Mike, last one here. Mark my words, in a mind-numbing paradox, marijuana will be found to prevent the onset and the best treatment of CTE. I'm not a doctor, and I don't play one on the radio, but I can guarantee you're probably going to be wrong about that. So, Mike and Mike, Clint Yates, Sean Farnham, you're here today from Los Angeles.
Yes.
Los Angeles is the home, or the metropolitan area home, of one LeVar Ball and the Ball family.
Right.
I've said this all week. I like LeVar Ball, the dad.
Okay.
I like LeVar Ball, the CEO. I like LeVar Ball, the hype man for Lonzo Ball, who is now playing for the Lakers. I do not like LeVar Ball, the basketball coach. And I thought that the way he carried himself at this AAU tournament that Adidas put on, I believe it was in Vegas last week, was deplorable, and it was an embarrassment. And I think that if this dude wants to be able to toe the line of being relevant but still having people sort of think that what he says is kind of a joke, he can't do both at this point. He's got a responsibility. You know him, and you know this situation well as a guy that's been around basketball and played at UCLA. Tell me what you think about this from an insider standpoint, Sean.
Well, look, I've watched him coach the AAU circuit since Lonzo was in the 8th grade. What you saw this weekend is not how he coached. Okay, so something has changed.
Really?
What has changed?
Huh.
Well, now there's a boom mic and cameras following him everywhere he goes. All right, I think it's deplorable. First of all, the way he treated the female official at the Adidas tournament. I think that Adidas, you know what, you're right to apologize because your name is on that tournament and you allowed that to happen just because you wanted to make sure people came and watched the sideshow and the circus that is. I think it's wrong. Now, I also think it's wrong from another perspective. Twice during a live period. Live periods and for the recruiting world is when college coaches can come watch kids. He pulled his team off the floor.
Yeah.
Not for something that they did, but for something he did. So now you're limiting not only the opportunity for the kids that you are coaching to be seen, but you're also taking away the opportunity of those that you are playing against. Who's to say a kid doesn't get hot and all of a sudden some Division II school that maybe not have him on a radar screen goes, you know what, we need a shooter and that kid's a shooter and I want him, or we need a big and this guy can rebound and so I'm gonna come back and watch him play later. You don't know that. None of us know that. But what I think is it speaks to a larger issue now at the AAU circuit. All right, the AAU circuit is not the grassroots program is not bad. All right, it gets the label of being bad. Here's where it becomes bad. There was a tournament in Los Angeles, and one of my best friends was coaching in this tournament. And he said, it's the same tournament LeVar originally took his team off the floor on.
Okay.
At that same tournament, a guy that was keeping score got into a fist fight with a coach.
Wow.
At that same tournament, there was another coach after LeVar that took his team off the floor. At that same tournament, there were multiple incidences amongst parents, 4 to be exact, where they are going to blows in the crowd. You know what the funny thing about this is? Did I ever once mention the kids? Isn't that what grassroots basketball is supposed to be about? Now, you talk about LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball, I will never question as a father. Look at Lonzo. He is one of the most humble, unselfish, plays the game the right way, good leader.
Physically skilled as well. Let's not sleep on that.
You talk at everybody at UCLA. And I think, look, skills, you can develop skills from anyone. You can have a personal coach. It doesn't have to come from your dad. Okay? But your traits as far as who you are as a person often are reflected upon what you are taught at home from your father. Lonzo is an outstanding teammate. Talk to anybody who played at UCLA last year. Talk to anybody that's ever played with him at any level, and they will tell you he's one of the best teammates that you will find. But what comes a distraction is now when you're selling merchandise, your marketing becomes more important than the actual reality. And I think that's where we've gotten into an area with LaVar Ball that's dangerous. It's dangerous for him. It's dangerous for the parents on the outside that want to be like him because they see this as a way that they can have personal and financial growth. So it's not just about LaVar. It's about the next 5,000 parents that want to be just like LaVar because they think it's the right way to promote their kid without the other aspects that he actually has done right. All right, so I think that's a danger. And the other thing, the other byproduct of it is, I think this is going to affect UCLA's recruiting. Because he has two other kids that are coming down the pipeline that are at UCLA. Jello's right there now as a freshman.
Right.
He's going to be an added component this year. They needed a shooter on the roster. He's been inconsistent at times at the high school level, but he is a very skilled shooter. LaMelo, I think, is much more like his father than the other two are as far as personality goes and how he goes about conducting himself. Obviously got an issue with the WWE, with what he said on an open mic on live television. But I think there are going to be kids and parents that are going through the recruiting process right now that do not want their kids part of any part of this circus that follows LaVar Ball. And that's going to be an issue for Steve Alford and the UCLA basketball program moving forward.
Let's hear what Stephen A. Smith had to say about this. He'll be joining us, by the way, in the next hour here on Mike and Mike.
This falls on the shoulders of LaVar Ball, who I happen to like genuinely as a person. I just don't like the things that I've seen him do. But having talked to him, having met him on a few occasions and what have you, obviously he's very affable. He's like a fun-loving guy and what have you. But he has ventured beyond the realms of obnoxiousness. And that's really where this becomes uncomfortable. I'm not putting that on the shoulders of the media. When the Kardashians could have their own damn reality show, and you got the housewives of every city in America on the air, permeating the airways with people slapping one another, spitting in each other's face, getting ridiculous. Not to say that the Kardashians do that, because I haven't seen that, because I don't watch that nonsense. But in the end, what it comes down to, if you're going to sit up there and put those folks on the airwaves, don't suddenly tell me that it's the media's fault that we're covering LaVar Ball.
Now, look, I've been very vocal on these airwaves about how much I'm rooting for the Balls. If you've heard anybody talking about the Baldashians, that's me. I'm genuinely rooting for them to make a growth from a media standpoint to make that family famous, because anybody can do it in America, and I got no problems with that route. However, what this situation shows to me is that LaVar is not as in control of this as he once thought he was. When Lonzo came out, that was one thing. But if he is trying to market this entire family, if he is trying to get the goal that he stated for all three of his sons to get to the NBA, he's not going to be able to do it this way. He's got to tighten up the ship. And this is what I'm saying here. It was one thing to get Lonzo out. He's probably the best player, and he was the first one. But if he can't keep it together on the local level, there's no chance for Jello or LaMelo to be able to take the same route as Lonzo simply because LaVar doesn't have it in control.
Well, I would go a step further. When you sign on to be a coach, you will immediately become a leader of young men. What you do, how you conduct yourself on the side. I coach on the AAU circuit. I would never do that, ever.
Right.
I would never call out an official. Are there bad officials on the AAU circuit? Yes. Are there officials with personal agendas on the AAU circuit? There's no question that there is. But they are the officials of the game. Have I gotten a technical before as a head coach on the AAU circuit? Yes, I have. Have I ever been thrown out of a game? No.
Right.
And nor would I ever forfeit a game and take a team off the floor. It's not fair to everybody else. What precedent are you setting? That's the concern I have. Again, I don't have a problem. All parents make mistakes. All dads make mistakes. My dad made mistakes. I'm sure I'm making mistakes right now that my kids are going to look back on 20 years from now and be like, man, I wish Dad never did that. Okay? We all have that. Okay? But at the same time, when you sign up to be a leader of other kids, there is a standard that should be set. And if my son was playing on a team that had a coach consistently pulling them off the floor, forfeiting games, I would have them go play for another team.
Reminder, baseball season rolls along. Tune in tonight as the Red Sox host the Indians, presented by Indeed.com. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, and the ESPN app. Coming up, speaking of baseball, there's a sequel that's better and funnier than the original. That's next. I'm Clinton Yates. He's Sean Farnham, in for Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.